Okay, this morning we're going to make potato wedges. Really easy, quick and simple thing to do. What you need to decide is what you're going to flavour your wedges with. You can just use salt and pepper, or you can use a bit more flavour to put on yours. So I've got all sorts of things that we could put on. So there's some peri-peri seasoning, some herbs, some mixed herbs, garlic either in the form of a paste or garlic granules or chopped fresh garlic, paprika. I've even got some southern fried chicken seasoning that is already made up. There's also packets of things you can get from the supermarket and just use a little bit of those. You could even use an OXO cube. So the first thing you need to do is mix up your spice mix or rub, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to put a little bit of garlic in there, about half a teaspoon. We're going to have some mixed herbs in there. Again, about half a teaspoon. Might be a bit more of those, quite like those. And a little bit of southern fried seasoning that's already been bought and made up. Now this is made up from all sorts of spices and herbs, including mustard powder, fennel seeds. So the ones that are already made up have got all sorts of things in, just check the packet. And then a little bit, and only a little bit of paprika, just to give it a little bit of heat. Just stir those together and they're ready to go in after we've sorted the potato out. The first thing we need to do with our potato is make sure it's clean, get rid of any eyes that are in there. We don't really want those. Just pull those or poke those out. We need to cut this potato in half to do it properly. The best way to do it is where it's thinnest, we want to cut across it. So bridge hold, holding the potato steady, put the knife in right down to the chopping board, and the same the other side. Bridge hold again in the same and down. So you've got two halves of potato at the thinnest they could be. So then what we're going to do is try and cut a wedge shape. So that means that there's more of the outside than there is of the middle. So you're trying to create a wedge shape. So we're going to a point in the middle, and that way you get a lot of skin on, but it goes to a point. And you claw grip that and working for the same point. So you're getting an edge in the middle. Turn the potato around and the same from the other side. So we're getting plenty of skin. We're claw gripping. Make sure we're holding the potato tight. When we get to the middle, bridge hold again and just cut half. So what we need to make sure is that nowhere on the potato is it really any thicker than a centimetre, but it goes to nothing. You're then going to pop those into a plastic bag. Once in the plastic bag, you're going to put about a teaspoon of oil in. Now, you could put them into a bowl if you haven't got a plastic bag and move them around with your hand or a spoon, but this way you can throw the bag away once you've finished and it's not as messy. So the potatoes are in there with the oil. So gently just move the oil round so it coats the potatoes. Once those potatoes are coated with oil, that will act like a bit of a glue. So then we're going to put in our spices. So put them all into the bag and the same again, repeat the same. Now it will stick to the sides of the bag, so you'll need to make sure that you are really well moving this mixture around so it sticks to the wedges. So once you've got all your potato covered in the spice mix that you chose to make, you're going to tip those out onto a non-stick baking tray. You can grease the baking tray, but there is some oil, remember, on the skins of the potatoes anyway. So all the potato needs to go onto the baking tray and spread them out so that all the potato come into contact with the bottom of the baking tray, because that's what's going to conduct the heat into them and cook them. These need to be baked in a hot oven, about 190, for about half an hour. You can tell if they're soft when they'll be crisp on the outside and soft in the middle. I'm going to show you now how to make hash browns. The first thing you'll need is a potato, and an egg and some salt and pepper. So you're going to peel the potato. Once you've peeled your potato, cut it in half, it makes it easier to work with. You're then going to grate it on the large holes of the grater. Once you get near to the end of your potato, just be careful that you don't grate your fingers. And very carefully put the potato on the flat of your hand so that you can grate it. Once you take it out of the grater, make sure there's none left in the grater, you'll notice how wet the potato is. Now that's not going to be any good at all when we come to fry this because it will start to spit. So if you take a tea towel or a J cloth or something that's really clean and put your potato into it. So it's got a lot of moisture in that potato. So I'm going to carefully pull the tea towel together where all that potato is. And I'm just going to squeeze it, and you can see how much moisture comes out of that potato. You can see there's quite a lot of moisture out of one potato. That's going down the sink. Then you transfer your potato into a bowl that's had a beaten egg in it. So crack the egg into the bowl. It's rubbish. Add to that some salt and pepper, about half a teaspoon of salt and a grind of pepper. Now at this stage you could change your hash brown and you can add into it any flavour that you want. A bit of garlic, some grated onions, some grated pepper or chilli powder or chilies. If you want to spice it up, this is the point where you do it. So beat the egg up, so you're mixing all the seasoning into it, and then add your potato. So break it up as you put it in. It is a lot drier than it was before we squeezed that moisture out. So we're mixing together all the egg and the potato. Mix it together well because the egg is going to stick the potato together once it goes in the pan. Make sure it's well coated and well mixed together. Your pan needs to be on quite a high setting, but not the highest. So a medium to high setting with a couple of teaspoons of oil in the bottom to stop it sticking. So once you've got that nice and hot, about a tablespoon of mixture, and place it in a pile in the pan and then flatten it to about half a centimetre thick. We don't want these too thick because they won't cook in the middle. So you can make a few at a time, tablespoon of mixture, and keep it all together if you can. Now you could, if you wanted, put a mould in there like a pastry cutter and put your mixture in there to get a perfect circle, but I don't really think there's any need. Or I suppose you could make these on Valentine's Day in a heart-shaped cutter, especially for Valentine's. After about 5 minutes, the egg should have set, so you should be able to get underneath and flip them over. So then it can cook from the other side. So you should have got a golden brown colour on both sides, and they should be cooked through then. Alternatively, you could cook them at this point in the oven. Now that's good if you wanted to cook some and cook some more in the pan and serve them all together. Pop them in a warm oven and they'll continue to cook inside. Once they're golden brown on both sides, take them out of the frying pan and pop them onto some kitchen paper to soak up any excess fat. And then cook another batch.